Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. Sharon's been through enough, and we don't want to see her with another big heaping helping of guilt on her plate, especially for trying to help someone. But that appears to be exactly where Young and Restless is heading with the current storyline. After the ordeal in the abandoned mental clinic, Sharon is slowly regaining some traction in life, but it isn't going to be easy. As the blonde barista and corporate CEO admits to Phyllis in upcoming scenes, she's still suffering from nightmares and wrestling with the emotions left behind in the wake of their kidnapping. One thing that haunts them both is that they have no idea who took them captive to experiment on them like lab rats. As viewers well know, it's not likely they'd ever guess the identity of the culprit. They believe it's someone who knows them and their history very well, given that the riddles in the game during captivity focused on the details of their past beefs. Instead, it's someone who only had limited knowledge of Sharon and didn't know Phyllis at all. The other person in the dark about Alan is his fiancée, Traci, but she's already sensing something is terribly off-kilter with her dream man. It all started when his phone began blowing up with notifications about a clinic breach. The author saw the messages when he was in the shower, and though he was able to brush it under the carpet, her nephew Kyle later triggered suspicions by mentioning that Sharon and Phyllis had been held captive in an abandoned clinic. It was easy to disregard as a coincidence, until Traci got a message from Alan, saying he'd grabbed the last ticket on the last flight up to Paris that night. Considering they had planned to go together on the Abbott jet, it was downright bizarre. Although she didn't say a word, we got the impression that the combination of the messages, Kyle's anecdote, and Alan's urgency to get out of the United States left Traci questioning everything. That brings us to the next logical, not to mention heartbreaking, twist. Young and Restless teasers indicate that Sharon will help Traci connect the dots about Alan, which means the ladies are bound to come to the realization that he is the madman and freak who held her and Phyllis captive, terrorized, and very nearly killed them. Unfortunately, this shocking realization will leave Traci in extreme danger. Mortal peril even, should she decide to confront Alan. We can see it now. She'll be determined to bring him to justice, and will agree to be used as bait to lure him into an arrest, which is all fine and good if all goes according to plan. Unfortunately, as we know all too well, and as Phyllis spelled out, this is a villain who puts the likes of Aunt Jordan and Ian Ward to shame. He's clever, he's cruel, and he's capable of absolutely anything. If we're lucky, he'll be apprehended, and we'll finally find out the truth about Alan/Martin. But if he manages to outwit the authorities, Traci's very life could be on the line. The restless city of Genoa City had seen its fair share of scandals, betrayals, and heartbreak. But what was unfolding now had sent shockwaves through the entire town. Traci Abbott, the heart and soul of the Abbott family, was in grave danger, and the perpetrator? None other than Alan, the man she had once trusted. Alan had spent years hiding behind a charming and intellectual facade, but beneath that surface lurked a mind twisted by jealousy and resentment. His bitterness had grown into an all-consuming obsession, and now he was poised to do the unthinkable: eliminate Traci. Alan had meticulously planned his attack. He had waited for the perfect moment when Traci would be most vulnerable. The Abbott estate was usually bustling with family members and staff, but tonight was different. Jack and Ashley were away on business, Billy was caught up in his usual troubles, and their security detail had been reduced due to a false alarm earlier in the week. Alan had created a perfect storm of circumstances, ensuring that no one would be around to intervene. Traci, unaware of the danger looming, had spent the evening working on her latest novel. Writing had always been her solace, her escape. She had no idea that just outside, lurking in the shadows, Alan was watching her every move. The wind howled through the trees as Traci stood up from her desk to stretch. She made her way toward the kitchen for a cup of tea when she heard an unusual creak in the hallway. Her heart skipped a beat. The house was supposed to be empty. Then suddenly, Alan stepped into the dim light, his expression unreadable. Traci gasped, caught off guard by his unexpected presence. "Alan, what are you doing here? You startled me." Alan tilted his head slightly, a smirk playing on his lips. "I needed to see you, Traci. There's something I have to do." A shiver ran down her spine as she instinctively took a step back. There was something off about the way he spoke, the way he stared at her, like a predator sizing up its prey. "No, Traci, you don't understand. This isn't just about a conversation. This is about what's right, what's fair." He advanced toward her, and she could see something metallic glinting in his hand. A knife. The realization hit her like a tidal wave. Alan wasn't here to talk. He was here to kill her. Traci's instincts kicked in. She had spent her life as the peacemaker, the quiet abbot. But in this moment, she refused to be a victim. She grabbed the nearest object, a glass vase, and hurled it at Alan. He dodged it with a growl, lunging forward with terrifying speed. Traci turned and ran, her heart pounding in her chest. She sprinted down the hallway, nearly tripping over the rug as she reached the staircase. Alan was right behind her, his footsteps growing louder with each second. Instead of running up the stairs, she pivoted sharply and darted into the den, slamming the door behind her. She fumbled with the lock, her hands trembling. But before she could secure it, Alan shoved his way inside. She backed away, her mind racing. The fireplace poker. Her eyes darted to it just a few feet away. Could she reach it in time? Alan lunged again, and in a split-second decision, Traci ducked beneath his arm and scrambled toward the poker. She gripped it tightly, turning just as Alan swung the knife. With every ounce of strength she had, she swung the poker, striking his arm. The knife clattered to the floor, and Alan let out a furious yell. Before Alan could recover, Traci dashed toward the front door, throwing it open and screaming for help. The chilling night air hit her face as she stumbled outside, hoping someone, anyone, would hear her cries. As fate would have it, headlights appeared in the distance. Jack's car. He had returned earlier than expected. Seeing his sister in distress, he leaped out of the vehicle just as Alan came charging after her. Jack didn't hesitate. With one powerful punch, he sent Alan crashing to the ground. Within moments, the police arrived, alerted by the security system that Alan had unknowingly triggered in his pursuit of Traci. As the officers handcuffed Alan, Traci collapsed into Jack's arms, shaking with adrenaline. She had fought for her life and won, but the reality of what had just happened was sinking in fast. Would she ever feel safe again? Would the nightmares haunt her forever? One thing was certain. Traci Abbott had come dangerously close to death, but she had proven that she was far stronger than anyone, including Alan, had ever imagined. As for Alan, his fate was sealed. The world would see him for what he truly was, a desperate man consumed by his own darkness. But no matter what, one thing remained true. Traci was still standing, and she wasn't going to let anyone take that away from her.